Brandon, Brandon, where the heck are you, man? It's been 3 years. We gotta do this. Who knows where that guy is? He's the lead role in a live-action adaptation of Frogger?
Where am I?
I'm not dealing with this. I'm out.
In their eyes and their words are really clear. So beat it, just beat it, beat it.
Hi, I'm Brandon Dam, and no, this is not 2011. This is actually a new Dual Controllers episode that we're doing based completely off of video game movies. And I know what you're thinking, it's not, video games from movies. No, these are video games that have somehow crept their way into cinemas and have plagued our lives ever since. Okay, the first game, we're talking about movies. Okay, the first movie we're talking about, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. Man, that is weird to say.
We must wait another 5,000 years.
Well, I don't know about you, but that's more time than I'm prepared to commit to this enterprise.
If you haven't seen this movie, although it's from 2001, so if you're young, if you've seen National Treasure with Nicolas Cage, just insert Angelina Jolie, so everything that Nicolas Cage is doing, running around, Illuminati confirmed, all-seeing eye, back of the dollar bill stuff, all that, just insert Angelina Jolie. Now you've seen it. Okay, here we go. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, also known as simply Tomb Raider, depending on what country you're in, is an action-adventure film based on the popular video game of the same name. The character, Lara Croft, is portrayed by Angelina Jolie. The film was directed by Simon West and was released during the summer of 2001. The film revolves around Lara Croft trying to obtain ancient artifacts from the enemy, the Illuminati. The film received generally negative reviews for its stylish action and bland plot. Although Angelina Jolie was praised for her performance as Lara Croft in Tomb Raider, and it was the highest grossing film on its opening weekend, and even a sequel, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, was released in 2003, which was literally just similar to the original film, but instead of Illuminati, it was like Pandora's Box. Spoiler alert. Alright, the next film we're going to be talking about is Max Payne, starring Marky Mark Wahlberg.
What? No!
Max Payne is a 2008 Canadian-American neo-noir action thriller film loosely based on the video game series based on the same name, developed by Remedy Entertainment and published by Rockstar Games. Filming of this movie took place during March through May of 2008, and expensive visual effects were used in many scenes throughout the film to enhance everything. Despite negative reviews, the film was able to take a top spot on the box office on its opening weekend and grossed more than $85 million worldwide, capping its $35 million budget. The weird thing about this film, though, is that even though it was shrugged off as a success, the heralding hero, Marky Mark Wahlberg's character Max Payne, seemed to be going through a revenge thing, but no one watching the film was able to really pin down why he was doing it until it was explained halfway through the film. Although apparently Wahlberg wasn't able to pull it off as well as he had hoped, his acting was said to have been bad enough to have been nominated for a Razzie in the category of Worst Actor for his work in Max Payne and The Happening that had also been released during the same year, only to lose out to Mike Myers for his work in The Love Guru. Think about this, Max Payne was only a little bit better than The Love Guru. That hurts a little bit. From a video game standpoint, think about this. I mean, forget Tomb Raider and Lara Croft and Angelina Jolie. Max Payne, a story of gritty, just revenge and, suffering, loss, and trying to get back. All that's taken away with Mark Wahlberg, visual effects, and demon-like Valkyries that don't even make much sense. So there you go, video games fans. Fox bought Max Payne, panned off a movie, made about $45 to $50 million off of it, and slapped Marky Mark's name on it. You're welcome. And this is a film that I really don't even want to talk about. And I'm sure that most people that have seen it would probably like to forget about it. But we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna talk about Far Cry, the movie. Far Cry, the movie, is a 2008 English language German action film adaptation for the video game of the same name. The film was directed by Uwe Boll and it stars Tim Schweizer. And the weird thing about this film, and it kind of sits as a precursor, that the film was released on 9/11/2008. Yep, September 11th, 2008, this film dropped. Moving on. The reception on this film was insanely bad, but given its director, it came to no surprise, with most critics saying it does no justice to the game and gave the film a 3 out of 10, and saying, and I quote, "Fans of games and fans of movies in general would be wise to avoid this one at all costs, unless, of course, your purpose is to mock." And that is mine. Oh, jeez. Suppose the only good that has come out of this is that Ubisoft is developing another Far Cry film based on the Far Cry 3 video game, along with a Watch Dogs film and Raving Rabbids. This time produced by Ubisoft Motion Pictures. So we're hoping. We're hoping. Well, that does it for my segment. I'm going to pass over to Dylan for his part about retro video games. Retro video game movies. I'm never going to get this. And the thing is, we're going to go back to video games later. We're going to just do these segments about video games. For this film thing, it's not even going to matter. So Dylan, you can get over here and do whatever it is that you do. However it is you do it.
For retro, we're going to be taking a look at our good old friend, Uwe Boll's House of the Dead. This arcade franchise spawned 2 movies, both unrelated to the franchise. For the uninitiated, for our first episode of Dual Controllers, I wasn't kidding back then. These movies are terrible! Released in 2003, the House of the Dead movie showcases a group of college students going to a waterlocked island for an alcoholic-induced rave, which was apparently sponsored by Sega. Now look at that, that's Sega's logo in the rave scene. There is no connection to the games outside of gameplay footage, serving as the transitions and put through a pre-Instagram filter, and an action sequence that involves a lot of spinning camera movements directly around the characters as they're gunning down zombies. And another connection that's kind of weird to the games is that when they get bit, they have this little clip that plays of them in a sort of game over kind of sequence. Next, we're going to talk about the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Ah yes, the Super Mario Bros. Movie starring Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, and Dennis Hopper. This is the epitome of bad video game movies. So much so, a lot of information has been documented about this movie. In fact, I suggest you go check out Film Theory's video on this because they disclose a lot of information that I didn't even know about before doing this episode. Now, the movie concerns its story with alternate dimensions and the meteor that took out the dinosaurs. Bowser, or King Koopa as he's known, akin to the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, runs a dystopian society and needs a piece of the meteor to cross the dimension into our world. The piece that apparently Princess Daisy has. Sorry, hardcore fans, Princess Peach is in another castle. And as a result, the Mario Brothers get roped in for a rootin' tootin' adventure. Now, while the plot isn't doing a whole lot, The fun facts about this movie are actually pretty interesting. In fact, King Koopa, who is played by Dennis Hopper in the final film, was originally going to be played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's right, the Governator was going to play Bowser/King Koopa. Imagine how cheesy and awesome that would have been. Another fact, the script for this movie changed so often, Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, who respectively played Mario and Luigi, stopped bothering to memorize their lines and apparently had a bottle of scotch just offset to help circumvent the strain of the film. In recent years, the film has attracted cult-like status, lending to a fan website, a fan-made sequel comic, and managed to get a Blu-ray release in the United Kingdom.
Next thing we're going to take a look at is the Mortal Kombat movies. Now, with the first Mortal Kombat movie, you kind of get what you expect when someone's adapting this game. A whole bunch of people coming together to duke it out in a tournament and decide the fate of Earthrealm. Well, the film kind of fails for some very specific reasons.
I'll tell you why it fails, and I'm sorry, Dylan. I know I don't do this. I hate to butt in your segment, but I can't stand it any longer. This whole segment, this whole video, has already made me so angry I can't even stand it. The reason why Mortal Kombat was never a good film, will never be a good film, is its severe lack of fatalities, especially in a game franchise that pushed gore and actually for there to be a rating system for video games to separate the age groups, and for the movie to, I mean, yes, they went through rewrites, they went through casting problems, I understand that, but for you to just twinkle special effects over it and not show any blood, that just screws over everything fans everywhere. Mortal Kombat is a universally beloved franchise in any part of gaming, in gaming period. I mean, we go as far as back as arcades to consoles now, and for what they did in the movies, most people have forgotten about. I haven't. And yes, rest in peace Brandon Lee, Mortal Kombat's could have been better, but they weren't.
Yeah, the second movie, it's terrible. Don't watch it.
Since we talked about the Mario Brothers movie earlier, it seems fitting that we talk about the biggest cinematic advertisement Nintendo ever had, The Wizard. The movie follows a group of kids going to California for a video game contest after finding that one of them has a knack for video games. Not necessarily bad like a lot of the other films that we've mentioned in this episode, but it's so much an advertisement. There are games littered throughout the movie, and the climax takes place at the contest, and the kid has to play through, get this, Super Mario Bros. 3. Now you're thinking, Dylan, why is that such a weird thing to account for? The game wasn't out when this film was out, people. Seeing the connection? To finish off retro, we're gonna talk about Doom. This could have came out differently. It could have. You had Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Doom, one of the best retro first-person shooters. You had Dwayne The Rock Johnson wielding the BFG. You could have had him and Keith Urban fighting demonically possessed soldiers and demons, fighting to a portal to close it, which leads to the Mount of Hell. Instead, we get a passable sci-fi movie about genetic mutation with one sequence that is in first person with Keith Urban's character mowing down creatures, I don't know what the heck they're called, and it's the best part in the movie besides Dwayne The Rock Johnson wielding the BFG.
I got the need. The need for
Weed?
no, Dylan, speed. I need speed.
Brandon, that's a highly illegal drug.
No, the video game. No, the movie. God, we're talking about Need for Speed. Need for Speed is a 2014 American action film directed by Scott Woe. The weird thing about this film is produced by DreamWorks Pictures and Reliance Entertainment, as well as Walt Disney Studios. And the film stars Aaron Paul, better known as Jesse Pinkman, as the street racer Toby Marshall, who sets off to race cross-country as a way of avenging his friend's death at the hands of a rival racer. Spoiler alert. his rival racer kills his friend in a race where it was high stakes anyway, and he didn't even kill him. He left him to die. They crashed, and yeah, that was basically it. He just kind of died eventually. He didn't die. They crashed and no one was there to save him because the dude went on to win the race. And then Jesse Pinkman's character literally got framed for it because he went back to save him, I guess. And then he sits in jail forever. And then he gets out, gets a car. All this stuff happens. They ride cross country. And also Michael Keaton was there taking drugs. And then at the end, he just punches the rival racer in the face after he wins. Literally makes him crash, wins the race, turns around, and then goes back to punch him in the face. I guess to prove the point that even though you've won he could have won the race and maybe came back to save the friend, or maybe just but he even says in the film, I won't come back for you. But he comes back to punch him in the face. So yeah, that's Need for Speed. The last film I'm going to be taking a look at is Warcraft. Warcraft, alternatively known as Warcraft The Beginning, I smell a sequel, is a 2016 American action fantasy film directed by Duncan Jones and written by Jones Charles Levitt and Chris Metzen. It's based on the world of Warcraft, video games, and novels set in the world of Azeroth. The film portrays the initial encounters between humans and the orcs and takes place in various locations established in the video game series. The film was first announced in 2006 as a project partnership between Legendary Pictures and the game's developer Blizzard Entertainment. The film grossed $433 million worldwide and is now the highest grossing video game adaptation movie of all time. Although it is still considered a mild financial disappointment due to the very large budget of $160 million, the film did make over $220 million in China alone, representing more than half of its global box office total. Warcraft was initially scheduled to release in December 18th, 2015, but that would have hurt fans a little bit because the coinciding release of Star Wars The Force Awakens would have drawn geeks in a bit of a frenzy.
Look, okay, people, this is going to come after everything's said and done, and this is going to be kind of unscripted. We don't hate the people who made these, besides Uwe that guy. But there was a severe lack of passion in a lot of these films, and that's the problem with a lot of them. There are people either doing their due diligence like the Super Mario Brothers movie, or they just don't understand the source material, or they took a risk and it failed. We want to see these movies succeed. We love these games that they're based on, or we're casual acquaintances with them. But to see them fail, or bomb, or make a decent financial box office revenue, but not be considered that great in the critical sense, it's depressing for a gamer. We love these games. We want to see them on the big screen. That's like a dream for a lot of gamers, to see Mario and Luigi running around in the Mushroom Kingdom on the big screen, have everyone eating their popcorn, drinking their soda, and just cheering away as they save Princess Peach once again. But until filmmakers either have passion, or take a risk that works, or just know what the heck they're doing, and don't try to use German tax laws to make money off of video game movies, many people are going to be in the same position we are. We're going to be doing these videos. We're going to be talking about them and how they fail. We don't want to do that. But the fact that they're terrible, or passable, or somewhat good, like Brandon talking about Warcraft, until we see more movies like that, or even better, we're going to be right back here, eventually. Just saying.
I don't want to talk about the Angry Bird movie. I just refuse to talk about a game that 95% of the people that are playing it are pooping. The only reason that video game is famous or relevant is because people get bored at stupid times. Like when they're eating a sandwich or in the bathroom. There's no plot to that game, there's no nothing, but they make plot for you and they market it to kids for toys. Big surprise. That's why we're not talking about Pokemon. Not because they didn't make you feel some feeling you never thought you could as a kid, made you cry when Ash or it did this certain thing. All of that, no. It's because they've done fucking like 7, 8 movies. I mean, that's not even counting the ones that haven't gone to theaters yet. And every time there's some golden card or some like weird Pokeball thing that you can get for going to the theater and getting it. It's just a big marketing ploy. We love Pokemon though. And that's technically a video game that was developed into a TV show before, so it's not in the timeline. Not what we're talking about here, people.
That's gonna be a good bonus clip at the end of the episode.
Right? Like, where was Pokemon? There's where's your Pokemon.